Hi everyone, my name is Khalid and in this tutorial I will teach you about Henry Mintzberg contribution to management thinking. Before moving on in this tutorial, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Khalid Syeed Uddin. I come along with 14 years of work experience in teaching and training. I teach applied business, applied economics, and I'm very much excited to share my knowledge with all of you. So moving on to the topic about Henry Mintzberg contribution to management theories. His approach is broad, involving the study of virtually everything managers do and how they do it. Henry Mintzberg's general appeal is further enhanced by a fundamental belief that management is about applying human skills to systems, not applying systems to people. I repeat, what he believed that human skills should be applied to systems and not applying systems to people, a belief he had that is demonstrated throughout his writing. So Henry Mintzberg is from Germany, and whatever he did as an author, as a researcher, is very much applicable in today's business organization. So please increase your watch time in this tutorial and stay with me in this tutorial, and it will be very informative and insightful for your business organization, for your growth. Now, moving on to the 6 characteristics identified by Henry Mintzberg. Let me explain all these 6 characteristics one by one. First is manager's process. Manager's process, what he says or what he identified is that managers has got or have got lot of open-ended workloads. They are full of duties and responsibilities and tasks in their day-to-day life in their business organizations, and they are under very tight time pressure. So the result is manager's job is never done and it becomes an unending task. So to solve that unending task, he identified some solutions for manager's process, that it has to be automated in some way, it has to be regulated in some way, so that the job can become easy. It can be through a technological support, it can be through a manpower support, or it can be through training and development. Moving on to the next part is managerial activities. Managerial activities, what he said, are relatively short in duration, varied and fragmented, and often self-initiated. So managerial activities are not those activities which are written on the paper that you have to do this or you don't have to do this. It is an initiative taken by the managers. Next is action driven activities. So CEOs prefer action and action driven activities and dislike mail and paperwork. So action driven activities are a very common area to thought about in any business organizations, because in senior leadership team, the people are looking for actions on a daily basis, on a regular basis, so that the results can be accomplished as soon as fast. And they don't like paperwork, they like to talk with the people face to face. So that's what he observed in his research. Next, verbal communication. Verbal communication through meeting and phone conversation, he also identified that it is a very important component in any business organization. Verbal communication refers to that it has to be very much specific in nature, that what is the agenda of the meeting, what will be the place of the meeting, what will be the time of the meeting, and what will be the outcomes of the meeting. So that is about verbal communication. Next, he identified maintaining relationships. Now, maintaining relationships as a characteristic is very important in any business organization, because when any manager or employee is working in any business organization, maintaining relationships with stakeholders, internal and external, are very important for the growth of the business organization. And maintaining relationships primarily with the subordinates and external parties and least with the superiors is very much a priority nowadays, especially after COVID-19, because some people have a nature that they have a curiosity to know more than what is mentioned in the paper or in the books. So to clarify all the doubts, to give an insight about the topic or the agenda, to give suggestions, to give feedback. Relationship maintaining is very important in any business organizations, for especially for managers, because managers have to deal with their subordinates and with their superiors as well. And in the last characteristics is involvement in the execution. Involvement in the execution of the work is limited, although they initiate many of the decisions, which means that the managers at every level has to be involved in the process on a time frame, on a real time basis, so that he or she can be a helpful asset to the organization, to the department, or to the process. If anyone is facing any problem at any point of time in any of the functions, the manager should be there to solve the problems at that point of time, so that there is no delay in the work, so there is no confusion in doing the work. So these are the 6 teachings identified by Henry Mintzberg, and just increase your watch time in this tutorial. I will explain you next about what he identified in the 4 clusters, and how these 4 clusters in business communication, in making profits for the organization, will be beneficial for you. So just be in the video, increase your watch time. So now moving on to the 8 role combination method identified by Henry Mintzberg. Mintzberg analyzed individuals managers use a mix of the 10 roles according to the 6 work related characteristics. He identified 4 clusters of independent variables: external, function related, individual, and situational. He concluded that 8 role combinations were natural configuration of the job, which is acting as a contact manager, acting as a political manager, acting as an entrepreneur, acting as an insider, acting as a real-time manager, acting as a team manager, expert manager, and in last, acting as a new manager. So this is what he identified, or he made a 8 role combination for the managers. Now I will explain all these types of manager which he identified. First is contact manager. A contact manager is basically a figurehead and license, a person who their subordinates can look up to, a person who can help the problem solving activities in multiple departments. So this is a contact manager. Political manager is basically a spokesperson and negotiator who can represent the organization at national and international level. Third, entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is a person who is coming up with new ideas or applying the new ideas to the business organization. Fourth, insider role, acting as an insider, which means a resource allocator for the business organization. Fifth, a real-time manager. A real-time manager basically means a manager who is handling the disturbances in the organization. Number 6, team manager. Team manager is basically a leader who is managing the team, who is managing the process within a team and coming up with solutions to the problems in the team. Next is expert manager. Expert manager is basically a monitor and spokesperson who is having expertise in a particular skill and can share that skill with the employees or with their team members, so that the subordinates in that team can be upskilled or reskilled. And in last, new manager. New manager is basically a licensed manager who is dealing with external stakeholders and who can help the organization grow outside the business organization. So these are 8 role combination method identified by Henry Mintzberg. Just stay with me in this tutorial. In the next slide, I will explain you about analysis and interpretation of Mintzberg managerial roles. So there are 12 other features or characteristics, you can say, which he identified. So just stay with me in this video, increase your watch time, as all these small tips and learnings will be very beneficial for your business organization and for your growth. I'm really thankful to you for staying in this video up till here. In this slide, I will do analysis and interpretation of Henry Mintzberg managerial role. To meet the many demands of performing their functions, managers assume multiple roles which Henry identified in his research findings. A role is an organized set of behaviors, what he said. Henry Mintzberg also identified 10 roles common to the work of all managers. The 10 roles he identified are divided in three groups. First is interpersonal, second informational, and third decisional. And I will explain all these roles in this slide. So just stay in this video. So the interpersonal roles link all managerial work together. The three interpersonal roles are primarily concerned with interpersonal relationships. Next, the figurehead role. In this, the manager represents the organization in all matters of formality. The top level manager represents the company legally and socially to those outside of the organization. In license role, in this, the manager interacts with peers and people outside the organization. The top level manager uses the license role to gain favors and information, while the supervisor uses it to maintain the routine flow of work. So, moving on to the informational role. In informational role, it ensures that information is provided. The three information roles are primarily concerned with the information aspects of managerial work. Now, first is monitor role. The manager receives and collects information about the operation of an enterprise. Then, disseminator role. The manager transmits special information into the organization. The top level manager receives and transmits more information from people outside the organization than the supervisor. Next, moving on is spokesperson role. The manager disseminates the organization's information into its environment. Thus, the top level manager is seen as an industry expert, while the supervisor is seen as a unit or departmental expert. Then, next is decisional roles. The decisional roles make significant use of the information, and there are four decisional roles. First is entrepreneur role. In this, the manager initiates change in the organizations, new projects in the organizations, and identify new ideas which can be delegated like idea responsibility to others. Next is moving on, disturbance handler role. The manager deals with threats to the organization. The manager takes corrective action during disputes or crises, resolve conflicts among subordinates, and adapt to environmental crisis. The next is negotiator role, which is the last one. In this, the manager negotiates on behalf of the organization. The top level manager makes the decisions about the organization as a whole, while the supervisor makes decision about his or her particular work unit. So I repeat, interpersonal roles are there, figurehead role is there, license role is there, information role is there, monitor role is there, disseminator role, spokesperson role, decisional role, entrepreneur role, disturbance handler role, resource allocator role, and negotiator role is there in any business organizations for different set of managers, so that all these managers come along, share their skills, knowledge, and work in a positive way to contribute their knowledge and skills with their subordinates and to the stakeholders, so that the organization can grow, and not only grow, the organization can become a role model for other business organizations, that these set of practices are being applied in the business organization by these managers, and they can represent in the national and international conferences as well. So this is the relevance of Henry Mintzberg managerial roles which he identified, and I hope you will find these roles in your business organization for different set of managers in different departments. Please share this knowledge within your organization. I hope these roles will be very much helpful for your business. And if you have got doubt or you need more explanation with more examples, then please do contact me on teachingandcoaching2020@gmail.com. Once again, I am really thankful to you for watching this video, for staying up to this level in this video, and have a nice day. Be safe. Thank you so much.